It's becoming almost painful to watch. I mean, this woman, clearly is either just misguided, doesn't have a clue. To miss the biggest political charity event, ever, to blow it off like that and to phone it in and use an actor for your skits. I mean, Kamala, we can't help you. Okay, I feel bad for your team. There are rumors online today that she called one of her team members and berated them quite viciously on the phone. These are unconfirmed reports circulating online. Apparently, the young woman who advised her not to do this Catholic charity dinner, she was left in tears. The advisor apparently didn't think it was going to sit well with the pro-life, the pro-choice crowd, etc. So they told her to blow it off. Ladies and gentlemen, the last person to blow off this Catholic charity event dinner, which is a big deal, and everyone goes on both sides of the aisle, last person to blow it off was none other than Walter Mondale. Okay? So, she could just go down in history with the likes of Mondale. How do you like that? Welcome to the Trish Regan Show. I am Trish. It is so good to have you here. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday to you. We're watching the poll numbers. He's climbing and climbing and climbing. I'm going to get to these new records. But before I do, did you see the Al Smith dinner there in New York City? They broadcast it live. And again, this is everyone goes. Hillary was there and Trump was there last time. 2020 was a little different because everybody had masks. Everybody was in their basement. But historically, everyone goes to this. Both candidates go, Democrats go, Republicans go. It is supposed to be in the spirit of bipartisanship. But Kamala couldn't go. Now she phoned it in. And that meant Donald Trump had center stage, and believe me, he loved it. I mean, talking about taking all the limelight, soaking up the sun, so to speak. He had a few jokes along the way.
Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? It looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president. And I actually said, do you mind if I do that? He said, no, you got to do what you got to do. He's a pro. He's a professional.
Okay. So, Chuck Schumer's there. Kamala Harris can't be bothered to go. No. Again, she phoned it in, literally. This is unbelievable. Anyway, he had a good time. He stole the whole show. He's telling joke after joke after joke after joke. Here's one.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris. Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. Every one of those people is voting for me.
Okay. Again, there's no Kamala. I
used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz.
Oh, poor Timmy. Poor Timmy. I mean, it was a fun time, right? So you're supposed to be able to roast the other side, and then the other side gets up and they roast you, and everybody shakes hands, and, they say cheers because it's all in the name of charity. But apparently Kamala wasn't doing it because it was a Catholic charity. I mean, they gave some excuse about her campaigning in Timbuktu, but I'm telling you, Timbuktu's not voting for you, Kamala. We just saw the latest out of Michigan. We're seeing the latest out of Wisconsin. We're seeing the latest out of Pennsylvania. And I'm sorry, lady. I'm sorry. I've seen the latest out of Polymarket. Presidential winner expected to be elected would be Donald Trump. We're looking at a 60, not even 40 split here. All right, so this is real money on the line. People are there's no way she's winning. There's no way she's winning when she can't even bother to show up at the biggest political event that's bipartisan. And Donald Trump takes center stage, so much so that what were they talking about over on CNN? Well, you had one guy who despises Trump, with every single cell in his being, despises Donald Trump, has written a book about how much he despises Donald Trump. Anyway, he gets on TV And he's praising Donald Trump. I mean, Kamala, you missed out, lady.
Ryan Stelter, what did you make of this performance?
Oh, no, don't ask me first. I thought he was funny. I thought he actually got a few great jokes in. I thought the best moment was we talked about the assassination attempts and made light of what he's experienced, because I think he's experiencing real trauma, real PTSD as a result of the shootings, but he's still able to have a light moment in this room. And he took advantage of the fact that Kamala Harris wasn't there.
Which is really the subtext
that he
of this
kept,
whole thing.
Exactly. That she didn't.
They're usually supposed to be in the same room.
Yeah, in the same room. That would be the idea, you know, at these charity events that are bipartisan, in the name of charity. So Kamala, you blew it. Kamala absolutely, positively blew it again, ladies and gentlemen. She decided that it would be perfectly fine to just, you know, call it in or actually tape a whole skit. You remember all those days when she was in hiding and we couldn't find her anywhere? And people were like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And the spokespeople would go on CNN and they'd say, well, she's very busy. You know, she's the vice president and she's crisscrossing the country. Well, no, she was taping all these like weird commercials and little skits like this, which totally fell flat last night. Really, really flat. Because it's a live event and everybody's there together. And that's part of the fun, right? That's part of the dynamic. But Kamala can't be bothered because she's got this, that, and the other to do. And by the way, she wants everything so controlled. So controlled. And apparently realizes that she has no sense of humor. Zip zero, not a none. So she hired an actress, formerly on SNL, to come in and help her out with this little video, which she sent. Watch.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Gallagher. Mary Catherine Gallagher. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms and I simmer them like that. But that's gross.
So tell me something. I'm giving a speech. Do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men. It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman, we can fly.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, 'cause Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah, and also one last thing I want to tell you. Don't forget to say, superstar!
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
Thank you, Mamala.
Thank you. Your Eminence and distinguished guest, the Al Smith dinner provides a rare opportunity to set aside partisanship and come together to do some good.
Yeah, which is why you should have been there. I mean, that was awful. It was awful. Mary Catherine Gallagher was good, okay? Like, she's the highlight of that. But Kamala, you're supposed to be the funny one. And, you know, that wasn't really funny. That was just more political messaging, nonstop messaging, okay? We're tired of it. She's losing, guys. She's losing really badly. I got to get to these poll numbers. But quickly, we're heading into the weekend. And you know what I tell you to do every weekend? Take stock of yourself. Take stock of your financial well-being or not so well-being, right? Because inflation is serious, and I know everything costs more and it's really, really painful. But I'm telling you, you don't want to get left out because the elites are going to help the elites. And when they help themselves, that means more money printing and more asset valuation increases, which means stock market keeps going up. It's just amazing to see. Anyway, this is our portfolio over at 76 Research. All three of our portfolios, all of our model portfolios all together. These are our top stocks by sector, total return. I have this company. Some of you know financial research is sort of my baby and my specialty and how I started my career. And I wanted to have the chance to bring this to you guys. So I teamed up with a brilliant investor who's been a longtime friend. Wonderful, wonderful guy and wonderful family friend. And he ran billions of dollars on Wall Street for a long time. And I said, you know what if we did this differently? Instead of you being in the asset management business, instead of you selling research for tens of thousands of dollars to investment banks, what if we actually did this in a completely different way and we sold it really cheaply but at a really large scale? Because my belief is that everybody should have equal access to good financial research, and that's what we pride ourselves in. And this is hard to beat the S&P. When I started on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs a zillion years ago, the whole thing was, can you beat the S&P? Can you beat the S&P? Can you beat the S&P? It's not easy to beat the S&P, especially when you're doing what we're doing, which is not putting stocks that are from the S&P in our portfolio. We're really trying to go outside that because our feeling is you can buy the S&P and we're trying to have this value add. So take a look. You can see top consumer pick up 25%, financial pick up 24%, utilities 24%, and so it goes. Median stock increase in the last 3 months of 10.8% versus the S&P of 5.9%. So I mentioned that because we are going into the weekend. 76research.com is where you should go. Click on the model portfolios. If you can, get the Founders Club because it's the best value. We'll get all the portfolios, and there's 10 to 15 stocks in each one. Rob and I were just talking earlier today because we're making a switch. We're making a switch in the basic income provider portfolio because one of the stocks in there has just soared like crazy in the last few weeks. It's way, way, way up, which we love, of course. But you say to yourself, can that upside continue forever? And there's another company we've been eyeing. So our recommendation today is to take a little bit off the table in that one company and to go in on another. So we don't make a ton of changes only because we're kind of these buy and hold kind of people.